Before I start this video and scream about Castlevania Season 3, I do want to give a heavy disclaimer. Castlevania is not a series for the faint of heart, and it never was. This is a dark series that explores how fucking awful people can really be, and what things like trauma or grief can do to a person. If you are highly triggered by sexual manipulation, then I highly suggest you do not watch this series. I say this because many are criticizing Season 3 for having sexual manipulation and getting pissed because they were heavily triggered. Which is kind of dumb in a way, because this is a show that talks about genocide, religion, trauma, and grief. It's really not surprising they'd bring up manipulation using the horizontal tango, you know? Once more, if you are heavily triggered by mature and dark series like Peaky Blinders, Game of Thrones, The Witcher, and Vikings, then I suggest you do not watch Castlevania. With that out of the way, let's start this review. Hey everyone, Lou here. Castlevania Season 3 aired last week, and oh my gosh, I've got a lot to talk about with it. As I stated in my review for Seasons 1 and 2, I absolutely love this series. Yes, by the way, I did read the comments, and thank you to everyone who corrected me with some of the errors I made in my assumption about the series. I've done a lot more research now, so I'm almost an expert on the series, I guess. Well, roll the intro, and let's get started. Major spoiler warning for Season 3, by the way. If you don't want to get spoiled, then go ahead and click here for the timestamp on screen, which will cover the parts about Season 3 that are spoiler-free. It takes place a couple of months after Season 2. Alucard is doing physically well, as we see he's chilling in the woods, but mentally, that is a whole different story. He's pretty much talking to himself and just really isn't in a good place. Kinda makes you wish he had friends who turned the fuck around and dragged him out of that castle. In the meantime, we are introduced to Trevor and Sypha's new plot together. They pretty much go around villages and killing demons and doing the horizontal tango somewhere, I guess. I want to say they're together because, like, duh. However, Trevor calls her his friend in the last season, but it's been a couple of months, so I imagine Sypha confessed and they're romantically together. I say Sypha because we all know Trevor Belmont is too dumb to admit his feelings romantically. The two of them stop by a town with a bunch of creepy-ass priests, and one of them pretty much looks like Koichi in that one Rohan Kishibe OVA. The town mayor, or judge as he calls himself, is concerned about these priests, so he wants Trevor and Sypha to investigate them because they're new in town and therefore they have no reputation as strangers. The strange church of traumatized priests may allow them to investigate. Cutting again, Carmilla has been walking for about a month from Romania to Austria by the skin of her teeth, all while dragging Hector. Carmilla pretty much made him her kidnapped slave thing at this point, and we meet three new characters who are Camilla's sisters. Obviously, they're not biologically related. I'm guessing it's like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, only replace pants with corsets, I guess? Anyway, Carmilla comes up with a plan for her sisters. She discovered a long stretch of land with no vampire or human to claim the territory because they're all at war with each other over the death of Dracula. So Carmilla is going to convince her sisters to take this land and turn it into a place where they gather up humans for blood and drink them dry, essentially making a farm of humans to feed from. After that, we meet back with Isaac. I didn't mention him in my Season 2 review because I honestly didn't have much to say on him, and I wanted to avoid talking about spoilers as much as possible because I see a lot of his actions were major spoilers, so since I'm talking about spoilers now, Isaac is a really interesting character this season. Pretty much he's dealing with the struggle of wanting to kill all the humans and despise them, but overall it's a deep struggle for him because he meets many humans who are genuinely nice people. Back to Alucard. He meets two Japanese hunters named Sumi and Taka, and I know you're thinking they're twins, but according to the director of Castlevania on Twitter, in two different instances, he has confirmed they are not twins. They probably just look similar because, I guess, reasons? I'm not sure, but either way, they're not twins, and they're not biologically related. And they're pretty much here to give lore explanation for a Japanese vampire we literally knew nothing about. It's cool we got some information on her because I liked her design last season, but it would have been cool if she actually, you know, said some words instead of like Nothing? We don't even know her name in Season 2. We only find out through tweets and Season 3. It's Cho, by the way. Well, Sumi and Taka were basically slaves to Cho, who had this weird thing where she trained people to fight, and then had them try to attack her while making everyone watch just so she can brutally kill them in front of everyone's eyes. Once she left to join Dracula's army, Sumi and Taka freed their people and fled into the night to look for Alucard because they heard he's special, and they want to become vampire hunters. Alucard agrees and genuinely opens up to them, though it's very clear that Sumi and Taka do not like or trust Alucard. They see how desperate and lonely he is, so they play along in being his friend in hopes that he'll teach them how to use magic. Meanwhile, Alucard does hold off on teaching them because he's scared they'll leave as soon as he teaches them. Meanwhile, one of Carmilla's sisters named Lenore is trying to convince Hector to join their army and make night creatures for them. Lenore is pretty much a diplomat. Her job in the group is pretty much to make peace through compromise and manipulation. So she's gonna have fun with Hector since he is the easiest character to manipulate in Castlevania. I really do like Hector, but my gosh, he's kind of a fucking idiot for thinking Dracula was gonna listen to his plan when he wouldn't even listen to his own son, believe in Carmilla, and now he's here to get that clown wig on for Lenore. Fuck, Lenore should have just given him the clown shoes so he didn't have to get them for himself later. However, what I dislike in Hector's stupidity, I love Lenore. She is a evil character, I know, but I like that. I love that although she is a pacifist and believes in compromises, I love that she is so damn evil despite her beliefs. A lot of people always think pacifists are weak and naive, but this series really does show you that pacifists are pretty damn evil too sometimes. Oftentimes, you don't need a weapon or a battle to be an awful person, you know? In the meantime, Trevor and Sypha continue to investigate this town. Earlier in the season, we meet a man named Saint Germain. He's a character in the games, however, he is based off a real occultist and philosopher named Saint Germain, who was a man who constantly lied about his origins to a point where no one actually knew who he really was. It's pretty interesting stuff. I like the little nods. Even though in the games, he's pretty much Will Zeppeli, which, fun fact, apparently he was based off of him, so that's interesting. Anyway, Saint Germain pretty much explains that this church has now become a cult of demon worshippers. However, he doesn't really care because he's after a magical corridor that can take you to any universe, timeline, or layer of hell that you desire. Essentially, you can possibly time travel with it. Saint Germain says he lost someone in that corridor, so he's infiltrating for that, while Trevor and Sypha are going to kill the demon that's in there. We see in Saint Germain's dreams that he can sort of travel through the portal, or at least he can see visions of it in his dreams, but he can't really interact. Either that, or it's a flashback to the last time he tried searching in it, and we see a lot of weird shit through these alternate timelines, dimensions, and possible layers of hell, but we do see the person he's looking for. Now, this is a theory on my end, but her silhouette looks similar to a certain vampire huntress who's also a love interest for Alucard. Not only that, but her location looks to be their interpretation of the library in Symphony of the Night. I'm just saying, but that would be really cool if Maria was Saint Germain's daughter who was flung into the distorted castle in 1797. I mean, I'm probably wrong, but all I know is that whoever Saint Germain lost is at least feminine in shape and appearance. Anyway, the judge acts weird towards children. Sumi and Taka continue to be impatient while giving suspicious glances towards each other. Isaac meets weird people who continue to be genuinely nice or decent to him. And Saint Germain figures out what's going on with the traumatized priest. Now on to episode 9, which many fans call The Fuckening. Alucard has now been confirmed to be bisexual, but at the cost that Sumi and Taka tried to kill him after the horizontal tango to get Alucard vulnerable enough to kill. They call Alucard a liar and all that, while Alucard is literally pleading to them that he was going to teach them everything. I would like to remind you all that Alucard has done absolutely fucking nothing but be nice to them. Not to mention, these two lucky bastards got to bang him, so they really have nothing to be complaining about. Pardon my thirst. This is a very thirsty season, so I'm just matching the tone here. Alucard's arc ends with him absolutely traumatized beyond belief while following his father's footsteps by putting Sumi and Taka's bodies on spikes outside the castle so no one comes anywhere near this place again, or else they'll end up like them. That's alarming, but at the same time kind of dumb when Alucard knows that didn't stop his mother, and his mother isn't the last fearless human out there, just saying. Meanwhile, Hector banged Lenore, and Lenore pretty much took that opportunity to use enchanted rings to bound him to her so he can never go against her and is basically her slave. I mean, Hector was already a slave, so I guess he's now even more slave and Lenore's pet. Basically, we're back at square one with Hector, only this time he has clothes. Can't wait to see next season where Lenore just gives him the clown wig to match. Hector's arc ends with him as Lenore's pet and just pretty much in the same situation, just like a little better and a little worse at the same time. Meanwhile, Isaac goes to a city and kind of kills everyone there, and then fights what I can only assume to be the Netflix series equivalent of Legion, which, fun fact, Legion is the most terrifying boss in Symphony of the Night, and he is one of Dracula's special mirrors. He's trying to find Hector so he can kill him for betraying Dracula, by the way. I think he also starts a cult, to be honest. Isaac's arc ends pretty much on a fascinating note. A part of me wonders if he's going to be the series equivalent of Shaft, since we're getting a lot of Symphony of the Night references here. Let's rewind back a bit to Trevor and Sypha. The two of them and Saint Germain storm the church to find where the freaks are, and they're pretty much helping this night creature open a portal to hell to resurrect Dracula and his wife. From the priest's reaction, he didn't really know what the demon was trying to do, so he just kind of runs away, I guess. Saint Germain uses the night creature to bring himself to his mysterious lost loved one. However, he says they'll meet again. Trevor and Sypha kill the night creature just as Saint Germain goes through the portal and find out that the judge of this town was actually a child murderer who would lure children into the forest with the promise of sweet apples, only for them to fall into one of those spiked floor trap things and die. Sypha is absolutely horrified, and Trevor's seen shit like this so much that all he can really do is feel pissed off that Sypha had to see that side of the world. Their arc ends with them leaving the town, and basically Trevor saying that this is the kind of shit you see when you go around and travel the world. You just see a bunch of fucked up shit most of the time. So to sum up everyone's arc this season, Alucard is traumatized and now wants nothing to do with humans. Sumi and Taka treated a man who was absolutely nothing but nice to them like shit because they were lied to a lot. Trevor and Sypha are both fucked up now, knowing they destroyed a town and saved it at the same time. Saint Germain got back to his lost loved one. Hector is still stupid. Oh, and Isaac's doing pretty damn good for himself, actually. He's probably the only one feeling pretty damn good by the end of this season. Oh, and Dracula is chilling in hell with his wife who went there when she died. I mean, I don't personally agree that Lisa would be in hell, but I guess it makes sense from a historical standpoint following the religion at the time in Romania in the 1400s. What I find interesting is that hell looks exactly like how it's described in Dante's Inferno. I personally tried to find what circle of hell Dracula and Lisa could be in, but none of the 9 layers matched the location they're in and what they're doing. If I'm being honest, I think they're in the layer of purgatory known as anti-purgatory, because that's pretty much directly above hell. To sum it up, everyone is traumatized and sad, except for Isaac, because he's worth it. Also, Carmilla and her sisterhood of the Traveling Corset are doing pretty well and are planning to take that land and stuff. Overall, I really do love the story for this season, but my problem comes from the pacing. It feels way too drawn out, but also way too much to focus on, especially now that time travel and dimension hopping have been introduced. Like, that is a lot to take in. Time travel is always an extremely difficult thing to write about and very headache-inducing if you think about it. If you get it right, you have easy to understand concepts like Arrival and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. If you get it wrong, you have shit like the Terminator films and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Although Castlevania explained it well enough, it feels like one more character and this would have been an absolute disaster to explain. I kind of feel like a lot of this season was set up too. I'm not really mad about it since season 1 was also set up, so I'm starting to notice a pattern that the Castlevania series does one season where it's set up and then the next season is the big plot. I just really enjoyed this season even with its flaws. One thing when it comes to Sumi and Taka, I do think their portrayal was kind of done okay, but the problem is that their lines that hint at this betrayal have too many layers to it, where a normal person isn't gonna pick apart those layers and be like, okay, that's how we know they're starting to be suspicious, or that's what they think of death, that sort of thing. Another thing is, I don't think they'll make Alucard a villain, which is something a lot of fans are concerned about. Clearly, Carmilla and her Sisterhood of the Traveling Corset are pretty much the big baddies of Season 4, but I do think Alucard will be really closed off and cold like he is in the games, pretty much giving him a more realistic reasoning for putting himself in a coma for 300 years. While many disagree with the way this season was handled, sometimes it's for legitimately dumb reasons, like it being too dark. And others are for more legitimate reasons I agree with, like pacing. I overall really loved this season. It didn't have me sobbing at the end like Season 2, but I legitimately did love the writing of this season. Oh my gosh, the animation is so fucking good. Not only does every main character look ridiculously beautiful, that dermatologists hate them, but the fluidity and the animation in fight scenes is just so good. While I did notice a bit of CGI for background effects, like something on fire in the background was CGI, or night creatures in the background were CGI, I'm not bad because I hardly noticed it, and the only reason I'm even knowing about it now is because someone else pointed it out. However, what I did notice was that the animation seemed a little choppy this season. At least in regular conversation scenes, I noticed the frames seemed to be a bit on the low side, and even in some fight scenes, the frames seemed to be chopped up. I would argue it's better than Season 2 solely because that scene in the trailer where Trevor smacks down those two whips was kind of hot, and for that I think it's better. Sorry, this was a spicy season, so I'm getting spicy. As for the spicy scenes, compared to live action shows and anime I've seen, I think it's pretty tame. I mean, you do see boobs and a lot of naked people, but the spicy moments themselves aren't really that graphic. As I'm keeping this part spoiler-free for those who haven't seen it, I will say it's a little weird that a certain someone's spicy scene was a more traditional, like the ones I've seen in live-action shows, whereas the spicy scenes for insert character here seem to be something similar to a racier version of the music video for Duke of Venomania. I guess it was kind of weird there, like, give me equal spice here, dude. The character designs for the new characters is pretty good. I didn't really care for Sumi and Taka's designs all that much because it felt a little generic to me compared to the more elaborate designs like Carmilla's sisters, Isaac, and Saint Germain. Overall, the animation was really damn good. Every fight scene was like a breath of fresh air from how fluid it was. As I've talked about the main cast before, yes, Alucard is still my husbando, and I love him more than anything. It's okay, Alucard, here, have a tissue. Anyway, my feelings on Trevor and Sypha are pretty much the same, but Hector is now a certified clown. Alright, let's move on to the new characters. Isaac. He is a fascinating character to me. I love a character who struggles a lot on a moral scale, so seeing a character like him is always an absolute treat. I wasn't able to say it last season, but I did like his character a lot in Season 2 as well. Carmilla. Now I know why we should never make Cersei Lannister into a vampire. I do like Carmilla though. She's a delight to see because of her immense sass, and I do absolutely love her design. Saint Germain. A very interesting character. He was pretty damn funny too, not gonna lie. And his voice actor sounded like he had a lot of fun with the character. There's a lot of mystery surrounding him, and he's seen toilet paper, so who the hell knows where he's actually from? But I like him. Lenore. Gosh damn, I love how absolutely evil and methodical she is. She's the type of girl who will plan your murder, convince you to bury your own grave, and make you feel like shit because she got you to stab yourself with the shovel. Like, she is so damn methodical, and I love her. I also love how cutesy and playful she is despite being so evil. Morana and Striga. I really liked them. They're a couple, and we don't see much of them, but I like them. They're cool people. Also, is it me or does Striga look like a vampire version of Yasha from Critical Role? The rest, I'm not saying my thoughts on because just like last season, they're filled with spoilers. However, I will admit that the characters we are not supposed to like this season do not have much development, and that's fine and all. However, you could tell they were trying to be written as more trauma for other characters. Overall, loving the new characters this season and hating on the ones we're supposed to hate. This is a quick one, but the voice acting this season was actually pretty damn good. Everyone did an absolutely phenomenal job, though I will take some points away from Hector's voice actor. I don't know why, but I can't tell if he sounded bored because Hector is bored, or if he was just genuinely not having a good time in the booth that day or something. However, I do really love that you can tell the voice actors really do love voicing their characters and genuinely enjoyed the role. Especially Bill Nye, who I think is the only one of the entire cast who's had major experience in voice acting before, as he voices a character in Elder Scrolls Online, actually. Fun fact, by the way, Godbrand from the last season also shares a voice actor from a character from Elder Scrolls Online, so that's a funny coincidence. I do kind of feel like Sumi and Taka's voice actors did a good job, however, I feel like they were a bit stiff in their voice acting. I could tell they're actually pretty new to acting in general from what I looked up of their IMDb page, but I wish they could have been a little more emotional, so to speak. Overall, the voice acting was pretty good. Some people did an absolutely amazing job, while others I think did okay or just really needed some coaching. Is this a perfect season of Castlevania? Absolutely not. Do I think it deserves the mixed to downright negative criticisms from fans? Absolutely not. I honestly think the season of Castlevania was amazing. Yes, it has flaws, but I overall really enjoyed it. From what I looked up, Season 4 was confirmed by Netflix just a few days before Season 3 released. So I'm really interested to see what Season 4 is gonna do and what it's gonna be like. That's about it though. Let me know down below what you think of Season 3. Was it good or bad? I'd really love to know. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new. And if any old or new subs would like to help support the channel in any way, then feel free to visit my Ko-fi page down below in the description, along with my social media tabs. For any subscribers, new or old, who'd like to help with video ideas or maybe want to talk about anime or something, then I have a fan server linked down below. See you next time!